Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about what I could share with you, and one of the questions that I get asked the most is, what goes on during the week, what happens, how do you talk to your players, what are you showing them, what's going on. So I thought, we've played my ex-team twice this season, so they're not going to be able to look at all the things we've done. This is the pre-match presentation that I gave just before the game, so at the hotel just before the game in Reims, which was back in early December. And so imagine the players would be sat in front of me and I'd be standing up exactly like I am here at the board. We'd get the pre-match sort of presentation. I'd say, right, here's what we're going to do. Opposition team, this is it, 4-3-3. We've seen them during the whole week, so we know what they're going to do. We know what we're, expecting from them. We'll go through our lineup. So back in the day, I think this was the first or second time of the season that we'd played a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. They'll know the team through the week. Substitutes all have our importance. And if we stop it there, what we try and do as a staff is make it as clear and as simple as possible for all the players involved. And we've used many different scenarios, many different setups. This was the one we used that day. So with ball, when we've got the ball in this third of the pitch, how are we going to animate it? So in this case, if we can play it, we just try and show them the sort of outline of it. So we decided that day to play with a double width. So we'd got fullback and winger, fullback and winger. From there, we knew that we were going to have an overload in midfield because they defend in a 4-4-2. So we were going to have a 3 against 2 in here. And we said, it's all very well having, fancy lines and fancy whatever. We need to get in behind there. And profondeur is depth. So it's all well doing that, but don't forget that our end goal is to get in there. We want to play forward. We want to be positive with what we do. So you explain that, and then the next slide comes on. Be patient. If we can't play through, don't force anything. If we lose it, we've got a counter press because Reims' main danger is on transition, so we've got to do that. Then we make it even more clearer with a sort of frozen image of them in defence. We can see they're 4-4-2. We've got the overload. This is why we're occupying space, but let's not forget. Again, if the ball goes on this side, we know option number 1, we need a depth in there. Option number 2 is either we can play it out and then find opposite side where we've got 2 players. So the principles are always the same, and the system varies. We played 3-4-3, 3-5-2, whatever. And then just as a reminder and as like a refresh, this is what's happened on training. So we get zones out, we get lines out, and it all looks pretty and fancy, but it's just so we can quickly refresh them just before the game. So we've got a double width. So
is this the training in the week before the game?
This is 3 days before the game, I think. We play like an 11-11 on that size pitch.
And is that what you're talking about? You talk about the double width that side, now the double width this side.
So we've touched this side, we can't play forward. So again, we've not lost possession. We can't play it through the middle, so we've recycled through. This is Kuzanov in this instance. We've got a double width on this side, and if we can't play the fullback, then the wing is going to get the ball. But again, the end goal is to get it up there and in behind them. So we use images from training, and I'll always use 2 or 3. Again, same thing. We've got a double width on this side, double width on this side. We should have a man over somewhere in midfield. We've attracted them, so we've got that run in behind. There's your free man in midfield. How can we be dangerous quickly from there? And then we were talking about it earlier. This is vital. If we're not ready to counter press and our rest defence isn't good, they're just going to get transition after transition, and we're going to have to run.
Well, your defensive record, you're obviously looking at the stats earlier in the show, your defensive record is fantastic. I mean, is that a big part of it, basically?
Huge, huge. And it allows us to attack, and we do create a lot of situations. We're just not very efficient on them. But if we're not ready to defend when we've actually got the ball, then you just expose yourselves to so many transitions, and we want to avoid that. I don't want my players running just for the fact of running. If we're running, we're doing it with a goal to it. So we'll do that, and that's us with ball, and then we'll go one sequence where it's sort of like a set piece, it's a goal kick. So from goal kick, that day we decided, because of the way they pressed, to go in like a 4-2 and 2-2 outside to create this space central. So if we got stuck, we knew that there was a ball in the channel that they just completely opened up because they'd come into this man-man situation. If that's not open, can we find the pass out? If we can play that. Can we play this and then create that? And if we play long, there's always support, so the distances stay short. And this all sounds really complicated and wonderful.
How much work goes into goal kicks? They sort of fascinate me, the way the game's becoming, and everyone going short on goal kicks now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a set piece. That basically is a set piece to what you've just shown there. And it's one of the things, whenever we do Monday Night Football, I'm always looking at goal kicks and how people set up.
And this isn't, sorry, the goal kick, the 6 metres as they call it in France.
Yes, 6 metres is the goal kick. This is the other way, this is us now defending. But yeah, a goal kick, and it's sort of new in the game because it's the ideal moment to press. And with this new law that centre-backs are now, or players are now allowed in the 18-yard box, it gives you that permission almost to play. Like, well, I can come and stand here, so that pass is 2 metres and I've got 18 yards of space before I'm going to be under pressure. So it's become like a whole thing of, let's play out. We're allowed to play out, so let's play out. And on the opposite side of that is how we're going to press that. So it becomes almost in our concept, it's like, okay, this is a moment to press, and we just identify moments to press. On the opposite side, so we've seen what we do with ball, we try and play forward, and if we can't, we go to the opposite side. Without ball, we knew what their setup was going to be, and we always try and be really aggressive. So it's ideal moment to press. If you win it back high, I mean, you're 20 metres out from goal, so it's an easy opportunity to score. But again, we're just sort of painting the picture for them. We just want to make it as obvious, as clear as possible, and that everyone is on the same sort of page of the book. So yes, we want to be aggressive. As we go in a man-man situation, be careful for their rotations because players just move out of position and come to attract and make space. And a concept of man-man situations is you've got to be careful of the third man, because if you press the goalkeeper, for example, they play it into midfield, he's going to play third man, and he's totally free.
Can I ask you, have you had to change your setup because you've lost Kusanov to Man City, you've lost Danso to Tottenham?
100%.
I mean, they must be top players. You know them probably better than the managers they've got right now. They're now in the Premier League. You haven't got them. Yeah. Have you got a different setup now when you're dealing with goal kicks? Have you got defenders who can go man for man? Have you got to change your setup?
100%. We were playing like this 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 in defence. Now we've gone to a 3-4-3, just because of profile of players, and that's, you have to adapt. You have to constantly adapt the way you think, the way you set things up, and even if it's minor changes, you have to be ready to adapt from there. And like I say, we don't always go man-man. Yesterday, we knew that Brest weren't going to play, so it's like you're standing there, but you're pressing nothing because that ball is going in there. But to come back to this, it's a man-man. Here's your direct reference. So in this moment of the game, this is what we're doing, and we just make it as clear and as obvious for the player as possible. And all they see is video and image. If they can't see it, it's like they can't understand it because of phones and social media and whatever.
Oh, so you're talking about sort of the modern player. It's not just about giving a team meeting now. You have to show them images and
and you have to. If you get a blackboard up, it's not interesting. They can't see it. They can't feel it. It's not tangible to them. So we try and make it interactive. We try and make it interesting for them to see. So we've seen the goal kick. This is now our block. What are we going to do in block? Yes, we have to be compact. Yes, we've got to be aggressive within that block. These 4 players are responsible for our offensive transitions. And then, like I said, we just identify areas of press. Again, a still image of that without a play on words. And we identify our zones of pressure and where we're going to try and win the ball back. Last and probably key moment of press is to not stay in a block and just be a boring team. Any pass backwards or sideways is a moment to go and to set off our press. So this seems all really long, but they've been doing it over and over and over again.
Have you ever had situations where you've come up with this tactical plan, you've shown all the players, you get to the game, you kick off, and they're doing something completely different to the opposition?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. you have to adapt, and that message has got to get across, you know, so quickly that, you know, you come up with all sorts of things, like the keeper's got to go down because you want to bring the team in and you've got to explain it quickly, or, you know, there's a throw-in, just take your time on the throw-in, right, they're doing this, we've got to set up this. But generally, teams do, you know, what they're set out to do. Again, example from training, this is what we do, this is how we do it. The ball gets played outside, we know there's going to be a run, so we've got to follow the run, and once that ball gets played backwards, can we then step out and go and press? But again, I always feel that the players can relate to this because it's actually them doing it, and they can see, oh yeah, okay, I remember doing this and I remember doing that. Oh yeah, and this was when we do this and this is when we do that. Again, ball to the side, there's going to be a run, so our midfielder has to drop in. Ball gets played backwards, can we push up? Again, because we don't want to sit on the edge of our box. And we'd said once they play into us, then we're aggressive, and those players are responsible for transitions from there, those 4 players. And it's just a very brief and quick reminder, and I'm taking ages explaining it now, but it's just a quick reminder.
Well, how long would you normally get the players to sit through something like that?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Do you think that's the max of their attention span, or?
I think I'd bore myself doing more than 7 or 8 minutes, and I would never ask a player to sit for like 10, 15 minutes. It just gets.
But you've got their focus for that time.